Well, Patty, we are 5 days away from opening up Happy Acres for the 2025 camping season, and there's still a lot of work to do.
Yes, there is.
And I thought maybe we would share with everyone what goes into actually opening up a seasonal campground in this episode of Travels with Delaney,
The podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome back. My name's Patrick.
I'm Patty.
And we are joined on the old podcast sofa by none other than Mr. Truman Marshall, our Cavalier King Charles Spaniel.
Yes.
Little Bess is over in the theater seat. She, for whatever reason, she doesn't get excited about recording podcasts like
You
Truman.
get the equipment out and he jumps up.
Oh,
He's ready to go.
he knows what's going on. Bess prefers to sit over there on the theater seat. She's sound asleep.
Maybe it's because he just turned 7.
He's
a
more
little
mature.
more mature than
There you
her.
go.
Or she just like,
That's right. Truman just celebrated a birthday. Yeah.
7.
7 years old, so.
Crazy.
I know.
Our little man is 7.
Can you believe, Patty, this is episode number 101.
No, can't believe it.
And we almost forgot to do it.
I know.
It's literally 1:30 on Sunday afternoon. Normally we have these things to Jim hopefully a day or two.
Right.
And I literally this morning, it just dawned on me. We had gotten so excited about episode 100.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
then it's like, I guess once it got loaded, I was like, oh, podcast is over.
Well, and the week just zipped past us.
Yeah, things are
and
getting crazy.
things are
because
getting ramped up, and
we're
yeah.
both still teaching full time, and now we're trying to get this campground open, or helping Engine Kevin get the campground open.
Right.
And then there's some other things going on that have just tied us up. So
Yeah.
anyway, I almost forgot, but now we're here. So
We're here.
we're here.
We're
So
here.
today, what I thought we would do is talk about some of the stuff that we've been doing and we still have to do this week if we're going to get this thing open for Friday when campers start rolling in.
Yep.
But before we do that, we have to do another exciting round of this or that.
All right.
All right.
I'm back in the hot seat.
You're back in the hot seat, Patty. So, Patty.
Okay. On that note.
Yeah, you like that? All right, Patty. Here's your this or that.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm ready, I think.
You think?
Okay.
All
Hit
right. So, we have been buying slices of pie recently at a
Yes.
local place.
Diner.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, 2 slices that you've had.
Yes.
Which of these 2 would you choose now
Okay.
if given the option?
Okay.
Would you go with their chocolate cream pie, or would you go with their rhubarb pie?
That's evil. You're evil.
Because you've recently had a slice of both of those.
And they're both amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're both awesome. I love rhubarb, and this one was more like a custardy one, and I asked him if he wanted to bite.
I didn't even get a bite.
And by the
No.
time he got settled, I think I had it pretty much
Yeah,
gone.
I don't even think I had gotten my pie. And,
I had eaten it pretty good. So,
yeah.
yeah, it's, I think if I had to choose, like right now,
Right.
I'd go with chocolate cream.
Chocolate cream.
Yeah.
All right.
My heart still goes with chocolate. I love rhubarb ever since I was a little
Yeah.
kid, but
So
I don't
if
like
any-
it bitter, but yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So if anybody comes to Angola, maybe staying here at Happy
And
Acres
goes to
Campground.
the Village Kitchen.
Yeah, the Village Kitchen is a restaurant that, sometimes we forget about. It's just like the local diner. It's not
It's-
fancy. That building's the same as it was when I was in high school.
It's just like
Um,
home cooking.
It's just comfort food. Really good cheeseburgers. Like if you order fries, you literally
Holy
get a
cow.
whole basket of
I
fries.
think they cook you so many fries.
They have nightly specials.
Mhm.
And so, like, Thursday night is all you can eat fish. And, like, tomorrow night, Monday night, is a chopped steak that comes with cobbler. And, like, I think you get a side or two with
Yeah.
it. And the prices are, like, it's one of the places you can still go and eat. 2 people can eat for under $30
Yeah,
with
yeah.
tip.
And that doesn't happen very often.
No. So, but they have a selection of pies. And
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
a
know why.
quaint little place. It's
Yeah. It's not fancy. I don't
it's
want anybody
near
thinking.
Trine, if you know the
Trine
town.
University. It's our
Mhm.
local university.
Sometimes you'll see Trine students in there. I don't know if
Yeah.
they get tired of their cafeteria food.
Probably.
But, and then it has a cute little, like, you think of the old-fashioned diner with the old-fashioned, like, what do you call that, the bar area?
Yeah.
If you're a single, or if
Yeah.
you'd rather sit up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cute.
I think last night, Friday and Saturday nights, they do prime rib, which
Mhm.
is like probably the most expensive thing they ever sell.
Oh, probably.
And so I decided to splurge, and you could either get a 10 ounce for $23.99 or a 14 ounce cut for $28.99. I went all out.
Go big or go home.
That's what the server said. So it was $28.99. I got this massive
It
piece
was
of prime
huge.
rib.
Oh my gosh.
Had a baked potato,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Did you have
went
a
with side.
salad?
I did the side salad and the dinner roll. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for $28.99. Like I said, that's the most expensive. You last night
I
had,
had baked chicken.
yeah, Saturday night is also baked chicken, and you get stuffing with gravy,
And I chose my side of mashed potatoes
and you also had a side
salad
and
and a dinner roll.
I think that was $8.49
Isn't
for a
that
quarter chicken,
ridiculous?
or you could have upgraded to a half a chicken for,
Oh, that was
I think it was
plenty of
like
chicken.
$10.49 for the half chicken. So I don't want to throw out that prime rib price. People are gonna be like, oh, he's sending us a really expensive place now.
No.
Like most of their meals are probably $8 to $10,
And they're,
$12.
like what? We've had their fried fish. It's
Thursday
good.
nights, all you can eat fish for like $11.99.
Burgers are good. Breakfasts are good. It's a cute little place.
Yep.
It's
So
good.
anyway, that's
Yep.
why the this or that with the
With
the
the
pie,
food.
because
Yeah.
we've been eating there.
Now I want a piece of chocolate cream pie.
Yeah, we might have to visit the. We will be
It's
visiting the
so
village again.
good.
So,
I don't need it, but it's good.
all right. Well, let's get into this week's topic,
All right,
which
hit it.
last week for our 100th episode, we had Kevin and Angie on. Great episode. I hope some of you took the time. I know it was a long one, but I'm telling you, I've listened to that thing 3 times, and every time I find myself laughing.
Well, and if you made it to the end,
The
thank you. The end is hilarious.
The end is hilarious, and Jim always does a great job with bloopers and things like that at the end of these podcasts. But we didn't really talk to Angie and Kevin about the day-to-day as far as right now. It's crunch time. We are literally, today is Sunday, we open on Friday, which I think leaves us about 5 days here. And there is a lot to do. And I thought, we as campers, we just show up at campgrounds. We don't necessarily understand what's going on behind the scenes with the day-to-day operations, and that could be a whole
that could be a whole
that might be
thing.
something we'll talk about this summer when we're actually up and running. But for those parks that aren't open year-round, and there's a lot of them, because probably from about Indiana up, there are a lot of parks that close for the winter, because unless your water lines are super deep.
Too cold.
And then the other thing is they're just not as much demand in the northern states in the winter. There's most people,
cold.
it's cold, and most people winterize.
And it's cold.
So we're going through this process of trying to get the campground open.
Right.
And number one thing we had to do was get the water turned on.
Right.
And that's a process that Kevin handled that. But we have to get the water turned on. We have to get all the air pockets out of the lines, and then flush the system. And now tomorrow we're getting our water test, because before we can open, the water obviously has to pass, and it will. But it's something legally we have to do.
Right.
So there's that. But then we had, and when I say we, I'm using that as a park. I don't want to make it sound like Patty and I did this, because a lot of the stuff Kevin and Angie do. Or other people who work here. But last fall when we closed, we disconnected all the water softeners, all the laundry, the washers and dryers, because again, all that stuff has to be winterized. And so now we're in the process of putting everything back in place, getting water softeners hooked back up, getting water heaters hooked back up and turned on, the laundry room set back up so guests can, if they need to do laundry. And so we're doing that. But we also have a lot of other things. And let's start with up in the store.
Well, first of all, Angie and Amy were working on the new merch, getting shirts made and sweatshirt designs and all that.
And we should mention, Angie literally did not take a break all winter.
No.
And I think we discussed that a little bit last week with her, that she's not really a take a break kind of person. She spent all winter making some really cool merch.
They're neat. Not just the merch, but even the designs for the shirts.
Right.
But she's got some new merchandise, like ornaments, just to name one thing. I'm not giving away a lot of stuff for pets that I was looking at. That's just brand new cups, mugs,
wine bottle openers with Happy Acres engraved.
earrings, just lots of cute little things that she even purchased and found online. It's just this is going to be totally different.
Right. So the good news is she made all that and
now
brought
we
it back.
got to set up the office and set up the store.
So every one of those items we have to go in and create a SKU number and put it into our inventory and then tag all of it.
Mhm.
And so that's a job. Plus, Angie makes all of our clothing merch
Right.
in the sense of she orders in blank sweatshirts and T-shirts. She makes her own designs. As you,
Right.
Angie and I literally spent one afternoon
Cutting out those.
cutting out the transfers because the cheapest way Angie said to order transfers is in rolls, big
Mhm.
rolls. So she lays it out on the computer. They print it on these big sheets, and then we have to go in and cut out
Right.
each one. And then, so Angie and Amy is our new full-time work camper for this year.
Mhm.
They've literally spent at least 2 days.
Right. They're both up there with, I don't know what
They
it's
each
called,
have
but
a heat
a
press.
heat press, and they're both measuring and getting their decal or whatever transfer on there, and getting it all good, and then they
Yep.
make piles to let them dry and cool off, and then they get folded and they get whatever on display. So it's kind of like as I always said, it's gonna get worse before it gets better,
Right.
because you got to get things figured out, and then you can set it up.
And even that, once they get them all made, then again, they're going back and printing SKU tags, and then they have to attach them to the
Right.
clothing. And so there's just a lot of that. Yesterday, you and I ran and picked up
Stuff for the cooler,
cooler,
like sodas and water,
sodas and waters,
tea,
and then we went in. Luckily, that stuff all exists in our inventory.
Mhm.
I just had to go in and update, and you were putting the
You put the price on it, and I put it in the cooler, and organized them in the back, the ones that didn't fit in the cooler.
right.
So we were doing that. But yeah, there's just
And
all
right
kinds
now,
of
if you
stuff.
walk into the store, and you can
It's
walk into it, but it's a mess because we have T-shirts and sweatshirts that are just piled up that
Mhm.
need to be folded and displayed. And then we have merch just setting in piles that we've got to figure out where to display it, how to display it. And thank goodness Angie's really good at
She is
that,
really good.
making it look good.
She's got a good eye for that kind of thing, and
Yeah.
it always looks really fancy and nice when she's done.
Right. So I would say there is a lot of work in the store
I think so.
at this point. Just if nothing else, just to make it look nice.
Yeah, it's got to look presentable and nice, and it
Right.
always does. And then you can clean it up then. But yeah, I mean, you've been also working on getting the cabins
Right.
organized.
So a project I'm working on is we have 6 cabins here.
Mm-hmm.
So we strip everything linen obviously out,
Out.
and even we took the coffee makers out.
Out.
So I've been running around this morning just getting fresh linens back in and getting the coffee makers back in, basically trying to restock the cabins. Then we have to go in and we're going to have to clean them
Deep clean them.
because, over the winter you collect dust and there's dead flies everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Just what you would expect when you lock a building for the winter. So we'll go in, we'll do a complete dust, a complete sweep. We'll have to make the beds. We'll have to set up the coffee
Set it all
station.
up, yeah.
Clean out the refrigerators. They should have been cleaned last fall, but if we'll re-clean those, get those plugged in and running. Mop and so, that's probably a day's worth. Just
I
the
would think
cabins.
that's going to take some time, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to do things incrementally, like just getting the linens in there.
Right.
Because you're running between 6 different cabins,
Right.
So there's that project. Yesterday, I ended up with Kevin's assistance. We got the washers hooked back up,
Mhm.
and then you and I yesterday, when we were running errands, we picked up some fresh tabs, sanitize the washers because we want them to smell fresh. If you're going to do some laundry down there,
Right, and we've done that in our cabin before with our personal washer before we sold the cabin. But yeah,
Right.
it helps just every now and then, and especially since they just kind of sat.
right, all winter.
Just kind of freshen them up and get them.
And part of that was selfishness on our part because I didn't want to have to keep running the laundromat. So now at least we can do our laundry right here.
Yeah, we wanted to not have to. I like Deb's laundromat, but I just sometimes you get tired of running to one of those. But,
Right.
But I will with we have bigger things since this is our home now.
Right.
Like the comforter and things like that. You'll take
Right,
it there.
you can't run to home. Yeah.
Or the dog bed and stuff like that. But yeah.
So we also have some construction projects going on that need to be
Yes.
finished up. So Ben, who's a friend of Angie and Kevin's that does all of our road work, site work, that type of thing, he's been in here working when he can because the problem is we've had so much rain this year.
And cold.
Yeah, and I know in last week's episode, Angie mentioned they bought all the stone in the county.
Yeah.
But literally we reworked 4 sites in the seasonal section, and he's hauling in new topsoil and new stone, and like that's got to get done. But we also put in all those new concrete pads, which
Right.
the concrete is in. But then now Bill and Robin, our other full-time
They've
work
been
campers,
working.
they've been working this morning, and remember this is Sunday. Um, they're out there seeding around those concrete pads, putting down straw because we got to try to get, even though Ben really does a good job of not ripping up the whole site.
Well, you can't help but get a few little
Yeah,
areas. And I noticed in one spot, they must have had some sod, like it got
yeah,
trimmed
he
off,
tried to.
and they put the sod back down, and they're
Right.
trying to water it, and they're thinking, I think later this week there's a possibility of some
Some
rain
rain. That was why we
showers,
tried to get that in.
so that maybe that stuff can start taking root, and it won't be a muddy mess for folks up there. But
Right.
and those pads are so nice. He did
They
such
are.
a nice job.
He
The
also kind of realigned the pads, meaning what you pull your RV in on, so that they're a little bit more of an angle, which should make it easier to get in and out of the site. But when he did that, then there's some areas that had stone
right.
that now need grass
Yep.
because again, just a slight tilt causes a couple areas front and back.
Mhm.
So that we got to get that growing. So we got those going on.
Right. Right.
And then I'm literally been trying to make a mental checklist, and earlier I was like, you know what, I need to get this written down because there's a lot to get done. We've got to get all the picnic tables put back out
Yeah.
onto the sites because
That's
all of
another
our
job.
nightly sites get a picnic table, and so do the cabins. So that's like 39 picnic tables if I remember right.
It's a lot.
Which you might be going like, well, that's an easy task.
Not really.
Not really. They're even though they're those plastic Lifetime
They're
brand,
heavy.
they're heavy, and so it's definitely at least a two-person job.
And
And
don't they sometimes use
we'll
the tractor
we'll
called
use the
Kitty?
tractor with the forks, and we
Yep.
can only get like 2 picnic tables at a time.
Right.
And so yeah, it's not a hard job, but
It
it's just
just takes a little thinking and what are you gonna
yeah.
do, and you need to get someone to help you get it on the forks, off the forks, set up. Yeah.
Right. Bill spent all day Saturday with the mini truck going around just picking up limbs that had fallen over the winter.
Yeah, I noticed that him and Robin, they were like raking up
Yep,
sites
yep.
and getting it cleaned up.
Walnuts from the walnut
Yeah.
trees. So they've literally spent the last 2 days on that. And we
Leaves.
needed to do that because honestly, we're going to need to mow before we open.
Well, with all this rain,
Yeah.
holy cow, the grass was beautiful. I love the green grass in spring, but it is now popped. I mean, we've
Right.
got nice green grass, but it's growing.
It is growing.
Tall. It's
Yeah.
getting tall already.
I was looking, I think we need to go around and we need to open up all of the pet cleanup stations.
Yeah, get those opened
We
up.
we actually wrap saran wrap around them where there's openings so that over the winter things can't get in there and that type of thing. So we'll need to get all that saran wrap off. Then we need to restock them with the plastic
Right.
bags.
Mhm.
And again, all of these you may be sitting here thinking, well, that's an easy task. That won't take you very
But
long.
you just gotta
It-
something that takes probably a little time. You gotta there's like 5 or 6 of them,
At
maybe
least,
more.
yeah.
And you just want to check each one and
Yeah. We need to then. We talked about cleaning cabins. We also have to get all these bathrooms clean.
yeah, they need a fresh cleanup, don't they?
Because again, they just and they weren't left dirty. It's just when things set all winter.
Well, you just want to see what's in there,
Yeah,
what happened.
we
and
want
get
them to smell fresh, and so
Yeah.
they're going to need to be mopped, and
Yeah.
the toilets probably have who knows, like rust stains
You
that
don't
got
know.
just things like that. So we need to get those done. Once we get all of the picnic tables out of the pavilion, then probably not for opening weekend, but before the second weekend, I've got to get in there with a power washer.
Well, we got to clean that up and get the table set up,
Power
and the chairs
washed and-
washed
yeah,
off, they
because
collect dust.
We
and-
actually have an RV rally here the second weekend we're open, and they're going to use that pavilion. And it's a pavilion, so all winter long you just get dust and yeah. And it
Well-
was dusty last fall when we put stuff
well,
away.
it was so dry.
Yeah. So yeah, we've got that. What else am I forgetting?
Well, Kevin's really been working on the roads with the gravel.
Yep.
Because there's areas that over time the gravel. I
Gets
don't know where
thin.
it goes.
Yeah.
But it goes somewhere, and then he's been trying to grade them down because they got bumpy and holy because of the rain, and just trying to fill in where it's lower and getting them nice and smooth again for everybody. Yeah, because you're bringing in your fancy rig. You don't want to go through some potholes or anything.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And then, you just making sure, like we, excuse me, get the dumpsters that set up and get that cleaned out for folks so they can if they
Yep.
have junk to throw away. And it's just little things add up.
I know up at the office, this is one that just popped into my head, and that's why I have to get all this written down so we can have a checklist to get this, over the next 5 days. So we need to rehang. We have lots of bulletin boards and things at the front
Yeah, outside
outside,
gets set up.
and this year we're relocating the late arrivals, late check-in board to the main, I guess you would call it the main doorway. It's when you first pull up, because what found last year was we had all these boards on the front porch, which you don't see when you pull up. You have to walk around the building to get to the front porch, and people really struggled, even though we had signs up that with the arrow saying, late check-in around the corner. This way, when you pull up and you walk up to the door, it's just going to be right there. So I've got to get those hung, and then we're going to keep kind of like the activity board, bulletin board. We're going to keep that, but those have to be rehung because we took those down just so they didn't get destroyed over the winter because it gets so cold and we get snow, and so all those have to be rehung. Angie, at some point, I'm going to say Angie because I don't know how to do that. Is going to have to place an ice cream order so we can get our
Yes.
ice cream. Now, I don't know that's not going to happen by Friday.
Oh, come on.
I know.
Come on.
Partially because, probably not a lot of people, it's still cold out. Not a lot of people probably going to grab ice
You
cream.
mean you can't eat ice cream when it's cold?
If I can be
do.
if I can be completely honest,
Uh-huh.
we're delaying the ice cream order because once we get it in, Kevin starts eating it and we lose money. So the longer we can delay getting ice cream in, the more profit there will be for the park. So
Okay.
Kevin's favorite is peanutty.
Oh.
It's like a waffle cone with ice cream and peanuts and chocolate in
Moose
it.
tracks, baby.
I know you're the Moose Track
All the way.
waffle cone girl.
That's my after-school little snacky snack.
Yeah. Trying to think. Oh, and again, there'll be more supplies I have to go buy. Now for opening weekend, I'm not going to buy in much food because I think we only have 7 arrivals for opening weekend. But in the summer months, we do stock buns and hamburgers and hot dogs and brats and stuff that people might forget to pack. The problem with all of the items I just named, they're perishable. And so it's hard for us because we don't keep a lot because if we don't sell it, then it either goes bad and we throw it away, or we end up trying to give it away to like our workers or Angie and Kevin take it. And so I'm not going to stock much of that to start with because we're just not going to have the business to justify. But things like soda, candy, anything that has long shelf life,
Right.
and that's why we've started doing that already. So
Yeah.
anything
Absolutely.
else? I mean, it doesn't probably. If you're listening, you're probably thinking, well, that doesn't sound that bad. But remember, we are a small campground with a small staff. And so, like I said, we have Bill and Robin are here. They work full time for us. Don and Jen, who work part time for us, will be arriving, I was told today. Hopefully, get them working a few hours this week. Jen will be doing all the bathrooms, that type of thing for us. You have Amy that's full time, but I literally had to politely ask Amy to go home today because we don't want to get into an overtime situation on the first week,
Well, we don't want to burn her out.
and we don't want to burn her out. And so yeah, I mean, and then there's me. And the problem with me right now is I'm not only working to help get the campground open, but I still have my full-time teaching job. And so I won't be here, like 3 days of the week. I'm committed on campus. And so for the next 4 weeks, that kind of hurts until I'm done with my
Right.
school year.
Right.
But we'll make it.
We're going to get, I mean, you just got to think, too, it all does not have to be completely all done
Right.
by opening day.
Our main thing is when
Get that
if
office
you're
organized.
yeah, if you're one of the
and
first
sites organized.
Yep. If you were one of the first campers arriving on Friday, we just want to make sure that your site is ready for you. Everything's operational. We don't want you driving through construction, so we want to get all that put away. And in the store, we want to have at least some basic things for you if you need them. Yeah. So, and we'll have that. I was telling Amy earlier today, I said, if you talk to Angie and Kevin and you ask the question, how are we doing to get ready to open? Angie will tell you we're in dire straits basically. Like there's a lot to get done and she's nervous about it. And if you ask Kevin, he'll tell you, like he told Bill and Robin they didn't need to work yesterday evening because they had to leave for a couple hours. And they said, when we get back, they had like a birthday party. They said, we'll work in the evening. He's like, don't worry about it. We're in good shape. We got all week. And I said, and I said, where we're actually at with this? We're somewhere in the middle. Like, because Kevin's always much more laid back, and I think that's what makes this place work and makes them work is Angie worries about everything, until it's done. Kevin's a little more laid back and like, well, it'll happen.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully I'll be the guy in the middle saying it's not as bad as Angie thinks and it's not as good as Kevin thinks. We're going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
I know we're going to make it, but,
yeah,
everybody sees it a little bit different and,
Mm-hmm.
so.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just thought we'd share that with everybody, and maybe you're like, I could care less, but it's just one of those things. I think as campers, you show up and you don't think about, especially for these seasonal campgrounds, like how much work has to go in. It's not as easy as just unlocking the gate and saying, "Come on, come camping." Like there is a lot, and then there'll be more because like the pool, we won't even touch the pool till sometime in May. We'll have to get the tarp off the pool. We'll have to clean the pool, get all the chemicals running again. We have to go through tests before we can open. Our goal is to have it open for Memorial Day weekend.
Weather permitting.
Weather permitting. Yeah, and then we have there's other I mean this is why we have to have a list.
What's the
Yeah, we've got to get sight signs out. Because we remove all the sight signs in the winter, and we have brand new ones this year.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
So like all those have to be put up. We have, I don't know if Angie's done them yet, but we changed the traffic patterns a little bit, which means all the directional signs need to be taken off and the new ones put up.
Yeah.
I mean, so there's just a lot and that's why I say I need to start writing this stuff down.
I think so. And you're stressing me just listening to you.
We'll make it. All right. So there you go. That's what goes on opening a seasonal park.
Yep.
So, all right, everyone. Hopefully you have enjoyed episode number 101. It's really easy to remember the numbers again.
I think it's 101.
Well, you can call it 101. You can call it 101. You can call it the 101st. Whatever you want to call it.
It's done.
It's done. Huge shout out to all of you who took time out of your day to listen to the podcast. And don't forget, we also have it not only on audio on all of your major podcast networks, but you can also find the video version over on YouTube at Travels with Delaney.
The podcast.
And a huge shout out to our good friend and producer, Mr. Jim Kuzman, who even under duress coming in late on a Sunday afternoon, he'll make sure we have this thing in time to have it up. Most likely at our regular time. Although sometimes he has gotten it to me last minute, and he's on deadline, and then I forget to upload it on Monday morning. So sometimes, so if it's ever late, it's most likely my fault, not Jim's. So thank you, Jim.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Sorry that I'm the weak link in this podcast. So.
Oh boy.
All right, everybody. Until next time, we'll see you
on down the road.
Bye.
Travels with Delaney. We'll see you on down the road.